Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail with another Scrolls Live Commentaries. Today we have a game between Leeger and Peteos. And this is an Energy versus Decay matchup. Peteos, one of the top players in Scrolls right now. Leeger, not terribly far behind, although not in the tippy-top ranks. So Peteos playing a Poison Decay deck, and right now he has a pretty good early board here, especially with Infectious Blight. Good cards to hold on to. You can see the massive amount of flashy, blingy cards. Peteos known for collecting all kinds of things. I don't know. I'm just making assumptions now. But fun to drop the Blight Bear in the middle here because you don't really want the Hired Smuggler to kill it. You want the Hired Smuggler to pillage if you can. Now, like I said, you could have actually sparked and hit and kill that, but then there'd be no point because you'd be poisoned. Pillage draws a structure scroll. So there you go. Spark to do a little bit of damage. Leeger getting a structure scroll. It's a state machine. State machine, good in general, better against growth than Decay because Decay has some pretty beefy, although not as fast creatures. Peteos, though, cannot be too disappointed with the cards that he have. There is the Infectious Blight early. That's going to deny Leeger from possibly playing other cards, but he does have structures that he can play, so there's not too much of a concern. So there's the state machine, and right now not too much else to do. No reason to play a creature and risk it getting blighted because this poor girl, it's a girl, I got your parts, yap, is gonna be dying. But Leeger with a second Infectious Blight and not too much to do with his cards. Question is, does he sacrifice for resources or does he sacrifice for cards here? Right now he's going for resources, so he can play the Life Stealer. Life Stealer is kind of a fun card. I see some Decay players swear by it. I see some Decay players don't. I personally think it's a solid stat stick, 5 for 4/5 or 4/2/5. The fact that it can self-heal is great, but not like game breaking because usually you can do 5 damage to things if you really want to. But Leeger, you doing the usual energy thing, playing a really slow game here. But I'm not sure if that's because usually Decay, if they can spam out a bunch of creatures early, it's kind of hard to get rid of them because they are beefier than, say, something like Growth or Order. And Order really likes clumping their units and leaving them in awkward positions for Energy's removal. So, Peteos, what do you got? He's got Infectious Blight, which once again could deny some things. I don't see any at Miasma Wells. I'm not familiar with his deck, but I'm assuming he has Miasma Wells. But right now, Infectious Blight, not great to play on just a Gravelock Elder. But he does have plenty of cards available. The State Machine is now gone. And this poor Blight Bear is going to die the next time it tries to attack, which is too bad for him. So what's Leeger going to do? Probably Automata Forge and just pump. Actually drops it in the middle of the row. Usually I see people throw it in the front of the row. Well, he's not going to pump because that takes 3 energy instead of 2. There we go. Maybe we'll have a pump now. No reason to do anything else, so 1 pump. And Peteos' turn. We have a top versus bottom, shirts versus skins. I don't know. Maybe a little better to Infectious Blight at this rate, but not with Ilmire, Rod Eater, and Languid. Languid is a beautiful card to play on Gravelock Elders. It makes them cry all the time, and it draws you a card, which is a Harvester. Harvester, good magnet for Violent Dispersal. Ilmire Rod Eater is a fun card to put right here, except that it would expose creatures to Thunder Surge. Of course, Ilmire Rod Eater kind of takes Thunder Surge and says nom 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 because it eats rot. But if he does drop the Rod Eater, it will benefit from becoming 4/4 right away from the dying Blight Bearer. So that is a benefit, and it looks like we're going to have not first Idle Blood, but more Idle Blood on Peteos' side. Is right now Leeger's a little bit behind here. He does have another State Machine. He does have Sudden Eruption. Sudden Eruption, it's random for who it hits. And I don't know if you want to necessarily do that right now, but he can take out one unit that is going to do some idle damage to himself, but he can pump out another creature. Can't always control where they go, but at least if you put enough structures, you can give yourself good odds for where it's going to be. So Peteos has another Ilmire Rod Eater. This is 5/5. With the amount of Energy's hard removal, that's not always a problem. But this is a very creature heavy, so I don't say it's not so much a poison deck. It's more of just your standard Decay. It throws poisons in for support for creatures. There's your Infectious Blight. Always good to have when you have 2 or more creatures. It's going to be going around for a while. I've had some fun times of forcing Energy players to kill their own creatures just to try and stop the madness. He's probably not playing Mire Curse as well. But here we go, Leeger. What has he got? Getting rid of the Meyer Smuggler to play Sudden Eruption. Just gotta hope for the random there, and there's a 7/5 Rod Eater. The saving grace for Leeger, of course, is that Decay doesn't really have ways to speed up the Rod Eater on its own. And unfortunately, for the way the units are placed right now, unless Peteos wants to play an Infectious Blight to actually do damage, he doesn't have a way to kill the Elder this turn, if that's in fact what he wants to do. And it's probably better to take out the creatures and let the structures live for maybe a little bit longer. Definitely let the Life Stealer kill things because that'll heal it back up. Now it destroys a unit, then this is a structure totem. We'll see if that actually heals it. I think it does. It's been a little while, guys. I'm sorry. So let's see here. Another Rod Eater as well. For protecting the Rod Eater, it's already down a little bit of health. The Blight Bearer. And once again, just trying to beef up his one idol down. Heal for the Life Stealer. Good shape for Peteos as he has top Reaver Thea. Probably my favorite of the newly introduced uniques, but definitely not a card that's going to help Leeger right now when he's behind on board control. And what can you really do right now? You can go Machinated and do all kinds of damage. The problem with Machinated is that it does increase the countdown. So unless he starts throwing out Bombards, which I've seen Leeger pull, there's going to be some issues here. So taking out the Life Stealer, that's a start. Leeger by no means out of this at this point. There's plenty of hard removal. There's plenty of tools that Energy has to back up. That's one reason they're considered slow, is that they're actually good at stalling things. So Peteos having an interesting opportunity. He could Brain Lice the Cannonetta up here, but it looks like he's going to move his units up for a strike instead. Play the Witch Doctor, not do too much else. As we have a Blight Bearer on the bottom. Solemn Giant. Leeger with 8 resources, so not enough to drop it and haste it. Ember Bonds, on the other hand, really nice to take out this. However, unfortunately, the Rod Eater, when it dies, will buff the other Rod Eater. So that's unfortunate. And I guess the question now is, what does Peteos do? There is a second Gravelock Elder on the board. And they're friends with each other, I guess you could say. It's not a great position to be in. Unfortunately, because of the Ember Bonds, this Rod Eater is just going to die before it can take out the Cannonetta. Almost could be better to disengage with the Rod Eater, but you want it to get some kind of idle damage. So what do? Drop another Life Stealer up top, move the Witch Doctor over, and let this guy go nom nom nom. There's a Ripper, which also serves that purpose really well. You can't Soul Steal the Cannonetta because it's a 3 health. Lots of choices here, not the best position for Peteos to be in. But it looks like he is going to take out the Cannonetta and not play a Ripper, actually. So he's going to let it go. Actually, even better, he's going to buff his unit here. Get another Husk out because that is a double bonus value for surrounding units here. And dropping this down, oh my gosh, and this is why Peteos is a great player. And I'm not as great of a player. The buff on the Rod Eater actually giving more health. So that's nice. That's the kind of play that I don't think, even though I've played Decay all the time, I'm not sure I would have thought of. But that's why he's one of the top players, and I am not one of the top players. Because what looked like a unwinnable situation on the top now is flipped in Peteos' favor thanks to Decay having a penchant for destroying its own creatures. Leeger not even having a great Thunder Surge play at this point. He could drop it on top to take out 2 creatures. He could drop it on bottom. And that'll turn the Blight Bearer into a Husk, moving the Gravelock Elder out of the way of poison. Maybe tells me he's thinking about Thunder Surging down here, but no. He drops the Hired Smuggler instead, just trying to take control of the board while he can. Hired Smuggler, great target for Brain Lice. He can probably do enough damage to kill it without too much problem. Ire and Bile, on the other hand, all units gain Curse 1 and Attack 1 until the end of opponent's turn. That's not going to be enough to kill things, although he could Ire and Bile and Brain Lice and kill the Gravelock Elder. So there's 2 there. That's all. Look at that. You have so many things. There's actually still an Infectious Blight on it, so now that thing's just dead. Alright, so here we go. All kinds of things dying everywhere. Poison Explosion, and the Infectious Blight moves on there. Funny what little poisons switch around at the turn here. Thunder Surge is a great way to make this Ilmar Rod Eater very happy, but at this point, what option does Peteos have? He has a Violent Dispersal, but that's not going to help him too much this turn, but that's kind of the play he has to make instead of the play he wants to make. and that's Peteos flipping the game around really well. So what has he got now? He could Damning Curse. He can Damning Curse, but not his way to victory, unless he Iron Imbiles twice, but that he doesn't have the resources to do that. So what do we got instead? This creature is gonna die next turn. Of course, Peteos doesn't necessarily know that. But I mean, you have an energy player floating enough resources enough times. You figure at some point they're going to draw a Violent Dispersal. So 11 damage to the idol. Leeger in trouble. Not out of it, but in a really, really bad situation. So Automata Forge up here. I mean, Violent Dispersal. Do you Violent Dispersal the Witch Doctor? Do you Violent Dispersal the Rod Eater? You really want to Violent Dispersal both of them. What you don't want to do is to feed the Oblivion Seeker to the Witch Doctor and give Peteos multiple cards. Ectoman is a fun card. When it plays a spell, it gets attack +2, and if attack or 2 or more, increase energy by 1. And guess what? Decay loves playing spells. So there we go. There is the GG right there. So for whatever reason, Leeger not defending his one idol from the unit that can attack. Well, you know what? That's how the game ends sometimes. Maybe he just kind of conceded. I'll have to check the chat. But there we go. Me playing, or me watching here. And I guess I could say, you know what, I'm sorry I missed that one play with the Decay there, but Peteos showing why he has the goods and why he's one of the top-rated players in Scrolls. So this is Way to Fail. Hope you enjoyed that matchup. There will be more of this in the days to come. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting Scrolls. See you next time.